Hi.
Hello, Sammy.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right. I'm hungry, so I'm glad our little chat is 7.5 minutes long.
Okay, good. Well, that's something. So we'll notice if the pace picks up, it's because you're
Yeah,
hungry.
yeah, exactly. Maybe a
Lovely
good
stuff.
thing.
Okay.
So,
You are hungry.
I am. To get my mind off the food. Um, so you had an idea for this week's conversation, Sammy, didn't you? So
I
do you
did.
want do you want to like tee us up? What was your idea and where did that come from?
Yeah, and then we'll start the timer and get into it.
Yeah.
So the idea was, well, it came from I was scrolling through my pictures on my phone trying to find something, and I found a picture of us last week in London, eating pizza and drinking beer, and it made me smile. And I thought, gosh, I love that we did that. And the reason is that we've been courting an organisation for 6 or 7 months.
That's one
Sporting.
word for it.
Yeah, but it feels like that, doesn't it? There's this sort of in conversation without working together just yet. And I love that that's how many of our relationships start.
Mm.
And last Wednesday, we were up in London sharing a proposal with them. And we've worked really hard on that proposal and on getting to know them really deeply. And I love that we left their offices and went and drank beer and ate pizza, and we didn't know if we'd won it or not, but we decided to celebrate that, we'd just done a bloody good job, whatever the
Yeah.
outcome.
Yeah, it felt
And
like a
so,
celebration.
yeah, it did, didn't it? And yet we didn't know, if we'd been successful. We didn't know what was going to happen next. And it just
Mm.
made me think about how often we forget to celebrate the input and we
Mm.
focus a lot on the outcome. Because at that point in time, we had no more control, we had no more influence. Um, so we should be celebrating because we've done all we can.
Yeah.
And yet a lot of our practices would make us wait and then celebrate if we'd won it or commiserate if we hadn't, and wouldn't recognize,
Yes.
all the great stuff that went into it. So that's what I thought we could talk about a little bit today, is that perhaps sometimes an over focus
Mm.
on outcome, or maybe at
Mm.
times an over focus on input, and let's see where that takes us. Does that sound
Let's
okay?
do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I have the timer all set up and I'm going to put it here. So let's go. So
Brilliant.
what does that sort of bubble up in you, Juliet, when we talk about it, the input and output? What does it make you think of?
I think the first thing I notice is how organizational culture is very much focused on outputs, and even to the point where you know, we've worked in the space of learning and development for a long time. If you're saying to your organization, we could do this workshop, for example, it's all about, well, what are the learning outcomes going to be? So
Mm,
we're in this mindset where actually it's possible to predict and sell into the stakeholders, the people who are going to, endorse this or invest in this, um, what the outcomes are going to be.
mm,
But of course, in reality, given that we work with the idea of complexity, well, it's not an idea, it's a science of complexity and open systems, is that when an issue or opportunity is complex, like people learning or changing their behavior or culture or anything like that in organizations, you actually can't predict the outcomes.
it's really
So
inconvenient, isn't it?
yeah, it's really inconvenient. And people want to know the KPIs you're anticipating or, what the KPIs are, what are the tangible deliverables. All of that language just really reinforces this focus on outputs,
Yeah.
like you're describing, which we weren't doing when we ate the pizza.
No.
What does
No.
it bring
And
up for you?
I mean, I've probably gone a little bit more every day with it, because I remember working with a few organizations where, and forgive my language on this, but you have culprits who are essentially kind of high performing assholes. Um, they get the results. They're
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
They're at the top of the leaderboard all the time. But the way they
Mm.
go about getting the sale or recruiting the so and so or whatever it is, making that partnership, just leaves everyone behind them in tatters.
Yeah.
And they're just out juggernauting through life, being high performing assholes. And
Mm.
of course, I can find compassion for them because they're a product of the environment that they're in often, or a product of the environment they used to be in, and they've brought it
Mm.
with them. Um, but it can be so hard for organizations and leaders to do anything about them or think they can do anything
Mm.
about them because they're high performing. So it's back to that old thing, isn't
Mm.
it? Of what you condone, you celebrate, or whatever the language is.
Mm.
And it's Friday afternoon when we're
You
recording this, and I've
reinforce.
lost
Yeah.
lost my words. Yeah, what you
Yeah.
condone, you reinforce.
Yeah.
And so by not tackling the way they go about their high performance or the successes they
Mm.
meet, they achieve, we are reinforcing that it kind of doesn't matter how we get there as long as we do.
Yeah.
And
And
that's just, yeah, sad.
and dangerous because
Yeah.
it comes from a very narrow um, sense of what high performance is, that high performance
Mm.
is only the outcome. But of course, the behaviors that you're alluding to from the arsehole, ticking the boxes in terms of outcomes, but the way they go about it knocks people over and is damaging. They're outcomes too.
Yes.
They're relational outcomes that tend not to be defined. I think there is a nod to this in organisations from it's been around for a long time now, but the movement to integrating values into performance management
Mm.
processes. So
Yeah.
it's not just did you achieve the goal, it's how did you achieve it. But I don't think that's pervasive in, how you perhaps sell work as a
Yeah.
consultant, or how you set out your projects at the beginning of the year when you're agreeing budgets, or gaining buy-in for the work you want to do.
Yeah.
So I think there's definite room for recognizing that rubbish in, rubbish out. So maybe
Mm.
we refocus onto not shift completely to the inputs, but hold some dual focus on both
Yeah.
because they both matter.
Yes, because yeah, that not refocusing is really important because again, we've been in conversation with a few organisations actually over the last few years who have science or engineering at their heart, and when you have people with a mindset like that, you can have such an over focus on input that actually what comes out the other end, or whether it comes out on time, whether all that sort of stuff is far less important to that individual as well.
Yeah.
So it is holding those two things, isn't it? Let's try and be
Mm.
successful. Obviously, we didn't write a proposal just to write a beautiful proposal. We want to work with this
Yeah.
organisation, um, and recognizing that we are doing so much learning in the process of getting to that outcome. And we had some tough conversations between the two of us, didn't we?
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
one meeting where I came out and I was like, oh, I wasn't very good in that. And we had a great conversation
Yeah.
about how we might better prepare together.
Yeah.
So all of that extra, yeah, that's like, I love your reframing, all of that extra outcome that we don't notice, all those bonus outcome that we don't notice along the way.
Mm.
Um, and then thankfully we did win the work, so yay.
Celebrate the outputs.
Yes, that's it. But that's like you're saying, it's the balance between the two, isn't
Yeah.
it?
It is. It is. And we're just always at risk of this very sort of dualistic thinking,
Yeah.
of it's one or the other. And it's just another example of needing to hold both
Mm,
and just catch ourselves when we jump to the answer. Oh, the answer is to focus more on the inputs. So the answer is to focus more on the outputs.
yeah.
And actually, it's just more complex than that. And it's the both and that can be really useful.
Mm.
It also reminds me a bit of Carol Dweck's work on growth mindsets. Are we out of time?
No, we're not. I was just checking, and as I did it, I knocked something over.
Ah, okay.
It's all right. Go on, Carol Dweck.
Yeah.
This is really valuable.
Yeah, because Carol Dweck's research, as I'm sure many people know, stems from how the way we recognise and praise and reward children for their efforts at school, for example, studying for an exam or something, can affect their mindset in terms of whether they're capable of learning and change or not, and whether they're fearful
Yes.
of stepping into new experiences and challenges or not, and how open to feedback and learning they are. And one of the key things that she emphasizes is we need to praise wisely. Oh,
Go on, go ahead. Praise.
we need praise wisely, and don't just celebrate and praise, which is really hard when you're a parent and your kid comes back with a good grade. Don't just
Yeah.
celebrate the outcome, but also celebrate the input, which was how hard they tried. Because they
Yeah.
might just have a bad day and have worked really hard, and you don't then, say you did really rubbish, only getting a B. But yeah, it's just
Yeah.
really about celebrating the effort and what people put into things as well as the outcome. And
Yeah.
then you reward learning, not just achievement. And that has a radically different effect on our psychology. But I'm going on now, so
No, I
we need to
love it.
stop.
Well, you do because you need to eat,
I do.
and we need to wrap up. But yeah, no, it's really lovely, lovely to take a moment to celebrate the
Yeah,
both
yeah,
and to recognise that sometimes you can do a fantastic job in the way that you go about it, and it might just not work,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
not a reason not to celebrate everything you did toward it.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, and to recognise when some things land really well and perhaps you didn't do them as well as you could have.
Yeah, absolutely. Goes both ways.
Yeah.
Nice one, Sammy.
Lovely.
Nice
Thank
topic.
you.
Have a
Yeah.
lovely
We'll see you next
weekend.
week. You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.